Hello everyone, in today's video I will be showing steps for budgeting for a beginner. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. 1. Accept the ongoing budgeting process. We frequently have the tendency to view budgeting as a one-time task. You take your accounts and receipts and sit down. Determine the amount of money you have been spending. You make a plan for your future spending. Let's use a hypothetical couple named Henry and Janine as an example. The first time Janine and Henry attempted to create a budget, they discovered they had spent more than $450 the previous month on eating out. They then made a commitment to only spend $50 each week at restaurants, and they kept their word, feeling satisfied with their financial planning. It's incredibly challenging to actually achieve budgeting if this is what you envision. The couple did not actively manage their spending after making their first budget, so they were unaware that they had exceeded their self-imposed restaurant spending cap. They couldn't figure out why they were still having financial difficulties. They eventually reached the point where they had to start over and make a budget from scratch. Accepting that budgeting is the continuing technique you will employ to lead the financially fulfilling life you desire is the greatest way to position yourself for budgeting success. It's preferable to think of budgeting as a monthly maintenance duty, like to washing your laundry, rather than a one-time or seldom labor. Laundry management and money management is a continuing obligation that cannot be evaded, brushed off, or forgotten without having to face severe repercussions. Maintaining your budget is much more important than just making one, so entering into your brand new budget with the understanding that you are committing to a regular and continuous process can help. Janine and Henry set aside time each week to discuss their finances in order to prepare for this new, continuing duty. 2. Determine your monthly income. You're prepared to start digging into the specific figures once you've accepted the facts of the budgeting process. To begin, figure out your monthly revenue. This portion will be very easy for everyone who receives a wage from a conventional employer. All you have to do is look at your most recent pay stub to determine your pay rate. If you are paid weekly, multiply that by 4. If you are paid bi-weekly or twice a month, multiply it by 2. Every month, Janine gets paid $1,550 on the 1st and 15th. Her monthly take-home salary is $3,100 when multiplied by 2. She can calculate her budget from this amount as a starting point. Your monthly income is a little trickier to figure out if you freelance, have side jobs, are paid hourly or overtime, depend on tips or commission, or any of the other factors mentioned. In that instance, compile data on your earnings for the previous 3 to 6 months and compute the average. You can see how this works by reading this. But after reviewing his earnings over the previous 6 months, he discovers that, despite earning just $1,300 in one month and almost $8,000 in another, his average monthly income, after deducting his quarterly projected tax payments, is $3,500. Together, Janine and Henry make an average monthly salary of $6,600, $3,100 for Janine plus $3,500 for Henry. Step 3. Total up your required expenses. Your essential costs are the very minimum you require each month to support your lifestyle. Both variable and fixed necessities fall within this category. The majority of people have a rudimentary understanding of their fixed or ongoing expenses. For instance, you are certain of the amount you pay each month for rent or a mortgage. Now is the moment to research and record every single one of your fixed expenses. These can include /s, rent and mortgage, utilities, including mobile phone and data or Wi-Fi access. If these fluctuate, calculate the monthly average over the last 12 months, /s, payments for a vehicle, auto insurance, student loans, alimony or child support, daycare costs, and monthly dues, such as gym membership. Since they often remain constant from month to month, these fixed costs are the simplest to monitor. However, you'll see that some vital purchases, including groceries and prescription drugs, are not accounted for in these charges. These are the expenses that vary from month to month, but are nonetheless required. It's a good idea to compute the monthly average for the previous 12 months for variable spending. If certain expenses don't qualify to estimate your monthly average, tally up all of your annual expenditures, and then divide the total by 12. Include the following irrational but essential expenses: groceries, medicine, prescriptions, visits to the doctor, renters or homeowners insurance, car and home upkeep and repair, credit card payments. You will have your basic spending budget once you have determined how much you spend each month on these items. Add Pay Yourself line items in Step 4. Paying yourself entails putting financial planning and goals before recreational purchases. Many individuals overlook including these objectives in their budgets, expecting they will achieve their objectives with whatever is left over at the end of the month. However, making plans to spend extra money frequently means neglecting your objectives. Making line items in your budget for your primary objectives is the next stage in developing a sustainable budget. Write down your financial objectives to get started. Creating an emergency fund, paying off debt, maxing out your retirement contributions, and setting aside money for a large purchase are a few examples. Decide how much you will contribute each month toward your goals once you have made your selection. To calculate your monthly savings amount, multiply the amount of money your goal will require by the number of months you have left until it expires, if you have a deadline in mind. These amounts for Pay Yourself First should be added to your recurring costs. You can develop the habit of prioritizing your goals by treating your financial objectives as fixed expenses and line items in your monthly budget. Henry and Janine want to accomplish a number of financial objectives, such as paying off their college loans more quickly, saving money for retirement, planning a trip to Machu Picchu, and eventually purchasing a home. The total amount that Janine and Henry can spend right now is $4,755, $3,430 in baseline spending, plus $1,325 in Pay Yourself First purchases. Step 5. Plan for your discretionary expenses. You are now prepared to include discretionary expenses after determining your baseline spending and the line items for your financial goals. These are the expenses that are purely optional for you. They include items like entertainment, eating out, clothing, and other things of that nature. Even though some discretionary costs might be necessities, like clothing, unless your job is remarkably accepting, you decide how much you spend on these things. This step is a little trickier to calculate than the previous ones. This is due to the fact that you will need to know more than simply your past spending. Start with those figures and utilize them to determine if they are just right or too high or low. You might find, for instance, that you spend $150 a month on lunch outings. So thanks for watching. And if you are new, please make sure you subscribe and turn on post notifications just so every time I upload you won't miss anything.